Hello, and welcome back to Tech Talk. I'm your host, Stephen Taylor, and this is the podcast where we dive into the relationship between technology, language, and ethics. In today's episode, we'll explore how language shapes our understanding of technology and the ethical implications that follow. Our journey today will take us through various sources, from the elements of style to a thought provoking chapter from Society, Ethics, and Technology. And finally, an audio podcast from A History of the World in 100 Objects that covers the invention of the credit card. Let's get started. The first source today is The Elements of Style by Strunk and White. In the section covered this week, the authors highlight words and expressions that are commonly misused. Language shapes our perception of technology, and it influences how we communicate effectively and ethically. Strunk and White note that, quote, vigorous writing is concise. A sentence should contain no unnecessary words, and a paragraph with no unnecessary sentences. End quote. In an era where technology's impact on our lives is monumental, precise language becomes an essential tool to bridge this gap between experts and the general public. I personally believe that a great example of this is information about climate change. I think that once you can communicate the facts to the general public, they're far more willing to advocate for change. And one of the toughest challenges when fighting climate change is getting the mass public involved. But technology gives climate action advocates the means to give their message in front of the rest of America. Now let's shift our focus to a different perspective. In an episode of BBC Radio 4's In Our Time, experts discuss the historical and societal aspects of information technology. This source reminds us that technology is not just a collection of gadgets. It's deeply intertwined with our history and our culture. This connection between history and culture highlights the need for an understanding of technology's impact on society. As one expert on the show, Professor Jane Humphreys, emphasized, quote, technological change doesn't just bring economic and societal changes, it shapes them too, end quote. The dynamic dialogue between experts on the radio show illustrates how our understanding of technology is continually evolving, reflecting on changes in society's values and norms. Moving on, we explore the research paper, Technical Code and the Societal Construction of the Internet by Andrew, Craig, and John Flanagan. Fun fact, I looked it up, and John is actually Andrew and Craig's father. It's not necessarily relevant. I just thought it was a cool addition to the story. Anyway, this paper goes into the concept of technical code and its role in shaping the internet. It forces us to confront the ethical implications behind construction, even. The Flanagan's work highlights the idea that the internet is not a fixed entity, but a socially constructed space that holds ethical implications. They argue, quote, the internet is not a neutral platform, but reflects the values and choices of its architects, end quote. Understanding this sort of give and take is crucial for ensuring that the internet remains a tool that serves humanity's interest. I think that it's definitely getting away from that and becoming a lot more monetized, but that's the world we're living in. I think that this, honestly, this quote connects to the next source, chapter 4 of A Human-Built World, very well. So let's take a step back for a moment to consider technology's broader framework. In Human-Built World, Thomas Hughes emphasizes the role of technology as systems and controls. As we navigate this digital age, we must grapple with the opportunities and challenges of controlling technology. Hughes' insights reveal that technology isn't just a collection of devices, but more of a web of systems that direct the flow of information. As Hughes puts it, technology is not a thing, but a network or system of entities. So it's a lot of different things really working together. Recognizing this reality, I believe, is essential for responsibly managing and shaping our technological landscape. And I think that it is definitely up to the user. There are people who delete social media, who don't watch TV and have a little bit more control of the content that they're ingesting. But definitely it's getting a lot more saturated. Next, we're going to take a look at a podcast from A History of the World in 100 objects. Since the late 1950s, credit cards have evolved to become a crucial part of our daily lives, transforming how we interact with money. Credit, once reserved for the elite, is now accessible to everyone. And this shift has rekindled age-old debates about the use and abuse of money in relation to consumerism and consumer culture. Today, our focus is on a rather unusual credit card, one that was issued in 2009 by a bank based in the United Arab Emirates. It may look like a piece of plastic, but it's much more than that. It's a key to a world where physical money is no longer the primary medium of exchange. This card represents the fact that in a digital age, money has become largely virtual. Physical coins and notes have given way, and every transaction made with these cards is tracked and recorded, creating extensive profiles of our economic lives, which is definitely scary, at least to me, who's just really getting into more adult financial things. But the mystery to most people lies in who monitors our spending and what they do with the information they gather. These credit cards, however, don't reveal the true power behind them, which is massive global banks that operate across national boundaries. Our exploration of the credit card as a part of this podcast highlights the way we interact with money. Today, we enjoy the freedom to spend globally, but we often overlook how this financial system operates. This discussion serves as a reminder of the importance of understanding the implications of our modern financial world, and also remembering to it's really hard to do, but really trying to track where your money is going and where it's being used. The final source being covered today is Steven Johnson's Future Perfect. Johnson poses the question, what does the internet want? It led me to consider the evolving nature of technology and definitely our reliance on it in this digital age. This perspective is important in understanding how to harness technology's potential while also ensuring it aligns with important ethical principles. Johnson states, the internet has desires for openness, for data sharing, for frictionless collaboration, and it wants those desires to be fulfilled. Understanding these desires is key to navigating the future of technology and ensuring it aligns with our ethical values. For me, it was interesting giving the internet a human emotion like desire in this quote. I'm interested, fascinated, and definitely nervous to see if artificial intelligence develops wants and desires in the future as well, and how, if it does develop these more what we consider human emotions, how they would execute those wants and desires as well. Something that I will definitely be looking out for myself. The dynamic nature of technology requires us to continuously reassess our language, historical awareness, ethical responsibilities, and understanding control in the digital era. Our understanding of technology is not merely technical, it's both linguistic and it's ethical. As we continue to navigate this landscape, it's important to remain vigilant in the pursuit of clarity, understanding, and ethical responsibility. Thank you for joining me this week. Once again, I am Stephen Taylor, and this has been Tech Talk. See you next time.